Hi there, welcome to today's video. I've been thinking about what I was going to talk to you about today, and I thought we would go over one of the things that people avoid that has the biggest impact on your holistic healing. So let's talk about this today. I am Tammy Coyne, your holistic alchemist, helping you change pain into possibilities and possibilities into purpose. I upload content twice a week on this channel, usually Tuesdays and Thursdays, around holistic healing and personal development. And on Saturdays, I have the Holistic Pathway podcast that is uploaded where we do unscripted conversations on mind, body, spirit, and entrepreneurship. So thank you so much for being here. If you have not subscribed to the channel, I would love for you to do that. And let's talk about today's topic, this number one thing that people seem to want to avoid. And it is your unhealed emotional wounds from childhood. So let's talk about this. And a lot of times, every time I'm having a conversation with someone, and usually, granted, these are people who maybe aren't interested in holistically healing. They would much prefer getting a diagnosis and a prescription as to actually healing. So let me tell you why I'm so passionate about this. First of all, I am someone with a history of lots of trauma, abuse, and loss in my life. I had clinical depression. I was had a lot of anxiety. I think at one point there was the diagnoses were post-traumatic stress syndrome, clinical depression, generalized anxiety, blah, blah, blah. 30 years worth of counseling, all kinds of health conditions. But the one thing nobody ever really shared with me is how these unhealed emotions were ruining my life and my body. And the reason no one was sharing this with me is because they don't know. So, who am I to talk about this? Well, I'll tell you who I am. I went through all the personal stuff. I also got a master's degree in counseling. I also had a spreadsheet of diagnoses. I was constantly on some sort of medication for either emotional or physical symptoms, and I had had enough. I was sick of that grind, and I was tired of feeling like I felt. My mantra at that time was, I am sick and tired of being sick and tired. So what I began to do, first of all, was learn about the mind-body connection. From there, I began to deep dive into what my body was telling me about these emotions. So if I have anything going on in my body, whether it's a symptom that pops up, or I just start not feeling well, or something like that, or something more severe, like a broken shoulder, which I did in 2020, or an abscessed tooth that caused all kinds of problems, things like that, I stop and ask my body, what are you trying to tell me? What do you need me to know? And here's the thing, there are parts of yourself from your life, from the time you were in utero, especially up until about 7 years old, that really solidified who you're going to become because of the experiences that you had during that period of time. So a child's growth and development is absolutely critical to what happens to them as an adult. So consider all of the things you experienced. If you know a child, consider all of the things they've experienced, especially in those first 7 years. Now, there's other critical parts too that happen as you are growing, but those first 7 years are really super critical and end up being the parts of you that sort of run your adult life, which is why you begin to have trouble with relationships, or you begin to have trouble with on the job or financially, or let's see, your physical health starts to tank, or you're constantly feeling depressed, or you're constantly procrastinating, or you're constantly in perfectionism, or you're dealing with some kind of an addiction. The thing about it is, if someone will take the time to actually understand what your body is telling you, you can make a miraculous healing in your body. And how I know this is because I am no longer on prescription medications. I am no longer on any kind of over-the-counter medications unless I use supplements sometimes and essential oils. I no longer consider myself to be clinically depressed. I no longer consider myself to have post-traumatic stress syndrome. Well, there's nobody out there talking about healing these things, right? It's like, well, here's your prescription. Good luck. You're on this for the rest of your life. And if that's what you want, awesome. Do more of that. It was not what I wanted. I was sick and tired of it. I was so tired of it. It seemed like every damn prescription they gave me just resulted in another one or some other symptom. It was like playing a game of whack-a-mole all the time. And I was done. I was absolutely done. So I began to learn how to explore my body. I began to understand metaphysical anatomy, began to understand if something is going on, what is underneath it. You may be able to tell right now my voice is a little bit not quite right. Maybe you can't, but I can tell. I realized earlier this morning, I'm not feeling quite right. Okay. Well, a lot of times when that happens, people dive into, oh, I'm not feeling well. Oh, I think I'm getting sick. Oh, blah, blah, blah. And it's all this stuff that starts running in your head subconsciously. So what I did is I went, oh, I know this feeling. So I have an essential oil called On Guard and one called Tea Tree. I have a little bit of those. And then I move on about my day and I begin to think, I wonder what's going on in me that is causing my immune system to feel weak. What is going on with my throat? Is there something that I'm holding back? Is there something that I'm not saying? Is there something happening in my life that is causing me to regress to childhood? So the answers are yes to all of those things. And so I begin to nurture myself and say, okay, let's look at this. Let's see what's going on. What is it you need? How can I best support you? I'm saying this, me, the adult me, to the younger versions of myself that are having trouble right now. And I know why they're having trouble. The general person may not. You may not have studied and learned enough about yourself to understand what's going on and how to get to the bottom of it. When people are dealing with anxiety, they just think, well, I have anxiety. And they just white knuckle through it, or they get on medication. What if you could actually get to the root of it? And what if you didn't carry it around anymore? What if? You have to be willing to do the work. Now, this back here is the chakra system. I'll just run through them real quick. The red one, that is the root chakra. The second one is orange and the sacral chakra. 3 is the solar plexus chakra, yellow. 4, green is the heart chakra. 5th is blue, is the throat chakra. The next one is a different color blue and kind of a purplish blue. That is the 6th chakra for the third eye chakra. And the top one, which looks purple, sometimes it's white, is the crown chakra. And in each of those, you can kind of go up the body with those. So the root, the number one, so say anything from your bottom, let's say, to your feet is connected with that root chakra. Anything in the area under your belly button to, say, your bottom, that area, sexual organs, that kind of thing, that area is sacral. Then you go up, say, belly button up to the rib area. That is solar plexus. And then your heart chakra, throat chakra, third eye chakra, and crown chakra. You may think, well, what does that have to do with anything? Well, it has a lot to do with things, because when you are feeling some kind of way in one of those areas, say with a physical symptom, that is another clue. That is another place that helps us determine where the healing needs to begin. So in looking at the first one, the root on the bottom, well, right there, that has a lot to do with feelings of safety and security. So if there are fears around money, fears around your security, fears around feeling safe, even if they're not conscious but subconscious, you will start to have some challenges in that area. It may also show up in the low back area. So this is a good indicator when you've got physical things that start to show up, what is going on with your body, and gives us a clue where we need to focus. Now, a lot of people try to run from emotions. They're afraid of them. I used to think if I, although I tried to work on them, I didn't really know how. And I often felt that I was going to open the floodgates and not really be able to recover, because I had so much baggage that I was carrying around from childhood. The truth is, once I learned how to hone in on what was going on and allow myself to focus less on the problem and more on what I want from my life, those two things in combination help to create the healing that you need so you can actually get to the other side of it. Now, again, this doesn't mean that you're never going to have problems. Problems will continue to come. That's part of the human experience. However, you can be better equipped to navigate those when you start to actually heal what is going on in your body. And your body is always giving you clues and symptoms. So let's see. Yeah. So if you've got specific things going on, whether it's something you've had as a diagnosis, as an addiction, as a broken bone, as a surgery, or just this weird thing you notice that goes on, this is a cool way for you to begin to see what is keeping you from moving forward in your healing and personal development journey. So I'd love to know what you think about this, because the other thing is holistic healing is not just about the mind. It's also not just about the body, and it's also not just about the spirit. A lot of people seem to want to ignore one or more parts. You are a whole divine being. All of these parts work together to help you ascend into the highest version of yourself. So, what are you doing or not doing to help yourself holistically heal? I would like to know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to explore this further, there's usually a link in the description in the comments on how to schedule a holistic consultation. It's absolutely free. And we dive in and find out what you have going on and see if it's possible for me to support you in your healing journey and getting you to the other side. Thank you so much for watching. This is Tammy Coyne, your holistic alchemist, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.